All righty. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for coming out on this beautiful fall day here. We're going to have a great announcement about cement and paving here in a second, but I want to preface that by first celebrating an equally important type of binder that holds public services like the one we're here to talk about together, and that's partnerships. Nothing can be done without partnerships. I want to start with a big salute to Louisville's partner in Washington, D.C., and that, of course, would be Congressman John Yarmuth. Congressman Yarmuth wraps up a great congressional career, 16 years, that's been all about service. And when he was elected, people were saying, let's see how long the congressman is going to last, but he quickly proved to everybody that he was going to stay in that office as long as he wanted to run for it. The amount of good that he's done for our city in our country really is immeasurable. He is all about the people that he represents, and he lets nothing get in the way of lifting people up. It's a rare quality in leaders. It's certainly a rare quality in elected leaders as well. But he is all about the idea that America exists to help people and lift people up, realize their full human potential. And today is another example of that. You know, people might say, hey, we're here talking about sidewalks. But if you don't take care of the day-to-day type of stuff that people rely on, they're never going to remember you for the big things that you did as well. And that's what I love about the congressman. He just takes care of business. So please welcome our great Congressman, John Yarmuth.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I think everything that he so graciously said about me applies to him as well. And while we're both on our farewell tour, I think it demands saying that we have forged one of the truly valuable partnerships I think that I've ever had in public life. And I treasure our relationship as well as what we've jointly accomplished for this community. Thank you all for being here today. It's great to be here on Algonquin Parkway to announce another federal investment in our city. I want to thank the mayor, Director Burns from the Department of Public Works, and Councilwoman Bowens for being here as well. Councilwoman, your first year in office has sure been an exciting time for District 1, particularly in recent weeks with new investments in the Russell neighborhood, American Rescue Plan funding to help reopen the Parkland Library, and now here today to one of the gateways to Park Duval to announce more federal funding. Thank you, Councilwoman, for your advocacy on behalf of your constituents. You know, we talk a lot about safe streets, but that doesn't just mean safe roadways for drivers. It means level sidewalks, timed crosswalks, and efforts to ensure that a parent or grandparent walking their child to school can do so without incident. It means peace of mind when your kids hop on a bike to head to the park. It means if you use a wheelchair, you can travel to your destination without risking your safety by going out into the street because the sidewalk is in disrepair. That's why I'm proud to announce another investment as part of my work to secure community projects for our city, $1 million for sidewalk rehabilitation here and elsewhere across our city. And let me just mention, as an aside, community projects are what we now call, what used to be called earmarks. And earmarks became kind of controversial, probably unjustifiably so, and we disbanded them for 11 years. Fortunately, we decided last year to reinstate earmarks so that members of Congress actually can have a say in where some of the federal money goes. And it's only about 2%, 1.5–2% of all the discretionary spending in the country. Everything else is decided upon by a competitive grant progress, but this process allows us to go to our colleagues and say, I want to invest $1 million in Louisville sidewalks, and here's my case, and then the appropriate people actually vet them. So even though I get to decide what projects we advocate for, I have to make the case. And it was clear that this was an investment that my colleagues in Congress thought was justifiable. But this funding will be targeted to sidewalks that need it most, whether they're in severe disrepair in neighborhoods like this where there are multiple schools and parks nearby, or in communities that have a historically low level of automobile ownership and thus increased foot traffic. Behind us is just one small part of what this funding will help accomplish, but it's an important part of pedestrian safety and accessibility. We're just a few short blocks from Carter Elementary, Kennedy Montessori, and the Duval Education Center. Go a short distance further and you'll find Russell Lee Park, Algonquin Park, and more. These are neighborhoods where families live and work, and helping make sure that they have a safe path is just one way we can make life better, from our youngest Louisvillians to some of our oldest residents. So I want to take a moment to recognize and thank Department of Public Works Deputy Director and Chief Engineer Jeff Brown, as well as Engineering Supervisor Matt Haynes for their work in this overhaul of Louisville sidewalks. It's an important project, and I'm proud to be able to support your efforts with this federal investment that will benefit Louisville families for years to come. And one final note before I hand it back to the mayor. This is what government is supposed to be doing. And one of the things that I think we're missing in public discussion, public dialogue these days, is to actually connect the dots between what your elected officials do and your lives. And this is one of the fundamental obligations of government, and that is to provide infrastructure that allows our citizens to move and live safely and ideally. And so when you think about, we got an election coming up in just about a month. We're going to elect a new mayor, some new city council people, some new state representatives. I urge all of our citizens to think about what government actually does for you to make your life better, and then cast your vote according to who you think might do the best job of advancing that. Anyway, it's been an honor to represent the 3rd Congressional District. I'm so proud of our ability to bring back some federal funds to this neighborhood and others, and I look forward to being on the sidelines and cheering on my successor, the mayor's successor, and the history and the future of this great community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman. Just great work. And when he talks about the role of government, when you think about Southwick and what used to be behind us here, and now Park Duval and the Louisville Metro Housing Authority, the Housing and Urban Development Department from the federal government to transform neighborhoods like this, Shepherd Square, Beecher Terrace, of course, what you see going on. I mean, these are huge transformations and impact on people's quality of life as well. And oftentimes in the hustle, bustle, and negativity of today's social media world, people don't stop and say every once in a while, James, that we're making a lot of progress. And so today we're making it one piece of sidewalk at a time, but you can also see a much bigger picture here taking place as well. A lot of that maintenance of the city, upgrading of the city is our Department of Public Works. Again, they're kind of taken for granted when they're clearing the roads, when it's snowing outside and everybody is sleeping. Their absolute dedication to making our roads, sidewalks, bike and scooter lanes as safe and as shipshape as possible, no matter what the weather is. We got a dedicated crew behind us, making sure that happens each and every day. So I want to always thank our Public Works team for what they do under all types of conditions. And they have a real impact on our built environment. And earlier this year, in my last State of City address, I intentionally included a section on Louisville's built environment and how our city's footprint over the past decade included two new bridges after 40 years of debate and delay, the walking bridge, a new world-class soccer stadium, an energized Whiskey Row, $50 million to completely upgrade our whole library system, dozens and dozens of new hotels, many of them downtown, about $23 billion total in capital projects over this last decade or so. And just as intentionally, I acknowledge the swath of grand building and a celebration of the fact that our public works crews will have repaid 2,000 miles of roads, 88 miles of bike and scooter lanes, and 350,000 feet of ADA-compliant sidewalks by the time that I leave office. And I mention that because these projects are foundational to a city that puts a premium on the safe passage of its residents, which Louisville does, which Congressman Yarmuth has always supported, and he does here with this check here again today. And Public Works tells me we have about 150 lane miles of paving to complete still this fiscal year, and about 20,000 square yards of sidewalk repairs, such as the one we see behind us here, remaining over the same amount of time before the year's over. And they're going to be doing that under the very able leadership of our Public Works Director, Vanessa Burns, who's about to share her thoughts with you. Before that, I'd like to acknowledge several members of her team: Public Works Assistant Director Jeff Brown, Engineering Supervisor Matt Haynes, Jeff Hackbart, and Terry Muhanuka, engineers for sidewalk rehabilitation, along with other engineers, managers, and inspectors who ensure the jobs gets done and it gets done right. So let's give a round of applause for all of our team there. Thank you all. Nice work. We've got Joash Construction with us here as well. They're one of our great subcontractors and are now taking care of us all around the city. So we appreciate Joseph Scott, their founder, and Joash Construction as well. So with that, I give you Director Vanessa Burns.
Thank you, sir. I just want to thank Mayor Fischer and Congressman Yarmuth. When they talk about partnership, that's what they mean. It's a partnership of the city. It's a partnership of the city council, who at different times in the last several years have assisted the Public Works Department in getting our act together in our ability to create plans for sidewalks, plans for paving. And so I just want to say that we're most appreciative of the things that will allow us to do the small things. A lot of people say that, sidewalk is small, but if you're a senior citizen like myself, or have difficulty or don't have a car, that's sometimes the only way that you can get around. So we're not there, but the $1 million that Congressman Yarmuth is providing us and the other monies that have been provided by the administration and the city council will allow us, along with our plans, to be able to get to the point where we provide a built environment for all of our people. Mayor Fischer mentioned our team, that it is necessary in order to get this done. And so on behalf of the Department of Public Works and the small things that are big things for people in our community, we are most appreciative of the support and the partnership that we have had that has allowed us to get so that people notice the paving, they notice the sidewalks. We get thank you emails from people when they see that it has made a difference. So on behalf of the Department of Public Works, on behalf of my team, especially and not only Jeff Brown, who has really created a team that is about within the available resources to do the best job we can as quickly as we can. And thank you, Mayor Fischer. I'm going to miss these press conferences about money, but other than that, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Director Burns. There's going to be a lot of more projects coming because we've got about 65 or so American Rescue Plan projects, so we'll be seeing a lot more announcements around our built environment, different programs throughout the balance of this year and then into next year as well. So we're thankful for that. We should note that Congressman Yarmuth chairs the Budget Committee for the House of Representatives. And you talk about a fantastic accomplishment getting through the rescue plan, the CARES funding, all the different federal resources to help our city. Congressman Yarmuth was right at the head of all this work. So just another one of his lasting testimonies. Now, let's bring up our 1st District Council member, Angela Bowens. Councilwoman is a great citizen because she stepped in when Councilwoman Jessica Green was appointed to the judicial branch. And she said she was happy to serve, would not run for election when the seat became open, and that really helps things in a much smoother way. And it takes a great citizen to do that who just wants to serve and help her people. So please welcome Councilwoman Angela Bowens.
Thank you, Mayor Fischer, and thank you, Congressman Yarmuth and Director Burns. We all share common interests. We have the community at our hearts. And that's the reason why I came forward to serve, was for the community. You think about sidewalks, and the memory it brings back to me is trying to ride a bike. So though it's small, Director Burns, it means a lot to someone in the community that has kids, that can stroll their kids down the park and walk them on a sidewalk that's safe for them to run and do what they need to do as a kid. So the small things in life is what matters. It's not always the big things. And District 1 was a small thing that I did here, was a small part, but community is a big part of my heart. And I thank you for letting me serve this time. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you. So appreciate you all covering this today. It's your city government and your federal government hard at work here. And as our crew starts to the repair work to fix the sidewalk behind us, we're happy to take any questions. Questions? Going once.
What areas can you go into more detail about what areas are going to have this sidewalk rehabilitation?
Sure. Director Burns, you want to talk about where all the work's going to be done?
I'll let Jeff.
Jeff?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, and we've got that detailed in our 3-year sidewalk repair plan that we can share with you. It specifies all the locations that will be using this treatment.
Can you say too? We get a lot of questions about what roads are going to be paved, what sidewalks are going to be done, and that's all done on a prioritized fashion. So if you could talk about that, maybe mention that in your stories too. People think it's who you know and all this. It's not who you know. It's what needs to be done.
Yeah. So we assess the condition of our roads and sidewalks. We try to do the roads every 3 to 6 years, and then the sidewalks, we just had this opportunity to rate them in 2020. And it's the results of that study that determine the locations that we thought would have the biggest benefit from the investment. And it's same way with the roads. We're looking for the worst roads throughout Metro, and that's where we target our resources. Correct. Well, it will run all fiscal year. So we really started gearing up July 1st. I think we were able to hit the ground mid-August, and we'll be running through that plan until June 30th.
Anything else?
Is it based on the population that uses the sidewalk, or is it based on the damage to the sidewalk?
And a little of both. So we look at, is it in an environmental justice area? Is it on a transit route? Are there community serving uses nearby? And then we look at those pedestrian volumes. So yeah, we're trying to target areas where we get the biggest benefit for the buck.
Would you like the citizens or the community to recommend other places that may not be getting any attention?
Absolutely. If a citizen sees a sidewalk that they think has a problem and needs to be repaired, they can always go to LouisvilleKY.gov or on 311 and report that location, and we'd be more than happy to take a look at it.
All right. Well, with that, we thank you all for coming out and covering this. Have a great day.